All right. You want to give me the thumbs up when everyone's ready to go? All right, great. I want to first of all just say thank you to all of you for joining us here today. It's time for change. And here in Prince Albert, on October the 28th, together, we're going to deliver that change. There are many issues in this campaign, but the campaign comes down to one very important question. Over the last 6 years, under Scott Moe, are you better off? What we're hearing from people on issue after issue across the board is that the answer is no. Scott Moe and the Sask Party have dragged us to last place on education, healthcare, cost of living, and last place in public safety. People today simply don't feel safe even letting their children walk to school. Our kids, our communities deserve better. Now, Saskatchewan has so much potential. We see it in every corner of this province, and nowhere is that more apparent than here in Prince Albert. But under Scott Moe and the Sask Party MLAs have ignored the people of this city. I hear daily about the rising costs facing families in this province. And while the Sask Party spent years doing nothing, watching problems grow, sometimes even making them worse. Prince Albert, we say to you, we've got a plan to lower your costs, to save money, and to get tough on crime, to start reducing the rising rates of crime with an effective plan to start to turn those crime rates around. Clearly, in this province and in Prince Albert, it's time for change. Now, unlike the Sask Party, not only do we have a plan to freeze taxes, we're going to cut them. We plan to save you more money right away. Immediately suspending the gas tax on day one, saving Prince Albert residents $365 in the first 6 months alone. We're going to reverse Scott Moe's PST on groceries and children's clothing. And we have a 4-point plan to get tough on crime and get tough on the root causes of crime. We're going to axe the Marshal Service that has already cost Saskatchewan people $20 million without a single additional officer on the front line until 2026. We'll invest that money into frontline policing today to hire more RCMP officers, more Prince Albert police officers right away. And we're going to invest money into mental health and addictions services, and we're also going to go after organized crime. We are going to punish those who are bringing poison into our communities. And we're going to ensure that folks can get the help to protect their homes, their businesses, and places of worship. In Prince Albert, as you already know, we've got two incredible candidates, Carolyn Brostrom and Nicole Rancourt. Prince Albert, it's time to get Saskatchewan out of last place. It's time for change. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Not everyone at once. Sorry for my accent, I'm French.
That's okay.
That's okay. From the beginning of this campaign, you talked a lot about taxes, about affordability, healthcare, about cybersecurity. You made a lot of promises, but how? My question is how? What is your plan exactly?
Well, the plan is to invest in the things that Saskatchewan people desperately need us to be investing in. We've got a plan that is fully costed. We are going to continue to roll out announcements over the next couple of weeks, including a full costing of that plan. But here's the reality in this province. This province does not have a revenue problem. This province has a management problem or a mismanagement problem under Scott Moe and the Sask Party. On project after project, we see Scott Moe and the Sask Party spending more and getting worse results for the people of this province. As I said, children's clothing, groceries, those are not luxuries. But Scott Moe's $1 million trip to Dubai, that is a luxury. And Scott Moe will defend sightseeing trips around Paris for his cabinet ministers, but he has refused for years, while people are struggling in this province, to offer any relief. As I said, our plan is fully costed. It will improve, undo the damage done in education, in healthcare, offer that relief that's needed for people in this province. We can do this, but we cannot do it with another 4 years of Scott Moe and the Sask Party. People need change now. That's what we're going to deliver.
You had mentioned that rather than have the Marshal Service, you would address some of the root causes of crime. What are like 1 or 2 examples of those root causes that you could see right here in Prince Albert?
Yeah. Well, I've got 2 people beside me who can give you a lot on that. But just starting with mental health and addictions. I was first elected in 2016. Nicole and I actually were seatmates when we were first elected. And I remember one of the first meetings that we had was up in Saskatoon with the chief of police at that time. And he showed us increasing crime numbers for the Battlefords, for Saskatoon, for PA, starkly rising crime rates. This is back in 2016. And I remember asking, what's driving this crime? And he told me very clearly the concerns were largely centered around mental health and a rising problem with addictions in this province. We've seen under Scott Moe a 35% increase in crime. Anyone who goes anywhere in this city or anywhere in the province can see that with their own eyes. In Prince Albert, the increase in violent crime is 66%. We will never have enough police if we don't start to address the root causes of crime, such as mental health, addictions, people having a safe place to live, people having hope. We were just talking about this before we came out here. One of the most effective ways that we can start to address crime is ensuring that our kids get help when they need it. That's not happening in our schools right now, where we've seen year after year of cuts, long wait lists for child psychiatry, unavailability of beds and child psychiatry here in Prince Albert, closure of 1/3 of the province's child psychiatry beds. This is a problem that has grown, has been neglected, and has been made worse under the Sask Party. Changes to the CIS program, for example. It is about being effective, not like we see from the current government, holding press conferences, waving, shiny plans. It's about having an effective plan, working with communities, working with frontline officers, working with schools to ensure that people have the services they need before they get further and further down the line with addictions, mental health, and homelessness.
Sorry, you did mention about cutting the tax, and of course talking about addressing crime.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you just give it a breakdown how you want to actually address the issue of hopelessness?
Well, homelessness is another issue that we've seen not only increase under the Sask Party, but they've actually made things worse. And I think of the changes that they made to the CIS program. In this province, it used to be the case that there could be direct payment to landlords for utilities and for rent. The Sask Party changed that when they brought in changes to the CIS program. When they announced those changes, advocates, from anti-poverty advocates to landlords to those on the front lines in protective services, those in health, mental health, said this is going to make an already increasing problem in this province worse. And what do we see in our streets today? Exactly that. People have lost their housing. They've been kicked out on the street. We've lost rental housing. This is an issue. I can forgive when people make mistakes. When we see a government actively going against advice, being told that this change is going to make homelessness, is going to make mental health and addictions worse in our communities, and they stubbornly plow ahead with it, refuse to listen, only to see people and communities suffer. I think that's unforgivable. Another thing that we've seen under Scott Moe and the Sass Party is, while we have a homelessness crisis, while people are having a hard time finding homes that they can afford, they've had 3,000 housing units, Saskatchewan Housing Authority units, sit vacant over the last number of years. Not only are those 3,000 homes that people and families could and should be living in instead of living rough on the streets, they've foregone $200 million in terms of rent and utilities that we could have been bringing into this province. Again, this is a government that spends money hand over fist and doesn't have the results to show for it. Well, we do have results to show for it, unfortunately. They've taken us to last place. They've made our communities less safe. This is about being effective in increasing the number of houses, supports for those who need supports and housing, not letting 3,000 units, almost a quarter of the units here in Prince Albert alone, sit vacant while people desperately need housing.
So the NPD has changed leader after every election. Can I ask you, if you don't win this election, are you still going to stay on as a leader of the NPD?
Well, first of all, I don't plan to lose this election, but we'll see where that goes afterwards. We're really focused on the change that people in this province need. We've got the team put together that want to deliver that change. We're working incredibly hard, and as I said, together, we plan on delivering that change to Saskatchewan people.
And there are 26 days before the election. What we can expect from your party over the next few weeks?
Yeah, I think you can expect from us what we've been doing over the last number of years, being on the road, out talking to people right across this province. The platform that we have built, and I'm so excited to continue to share it with the people of this province and the reactions that we've been receiving. It is getting head nods from people in this province because it has been built with people in this province, addressing not only what the concerns are, what the problems are in this province, but the solutions have been built with leaders, with those in education, in healthcare, in communities right across this province, and focused on the issues that are number one for Saskatchewan people. And again, those issues, Scott Moe talks a lot about division. What I see in this province is a province united on many things. People here care about their neighbors. People here are not afraid of hard work. The challenges that people are facing right across the province are very much the same. Cost of living, education, healthcare, or the lack of healthcare in this province, and rising crime. We have a proud history in this province of tackling problems, leading, being effective. People do not like that Scott Moe and the Sass Party have taken us to last place. They do not like what they see when they look around their communities, seeing crime increasing, people leaving the province. We're going to continue to focus on the things that matter most to Saskatchewan people and putting forth our solutions built with the people of this province. People are looking for change, and we're going to deliver that change.
And you just talked of the people leaving the province. Do you have a plan to keep them
Retain them.
people stay in the province, like the student who graduates and goes to another province?
One of the main things that people are looking for, they're looking for jobs, they're looking for safe communities, they're looking for schools where their kids get the supports that they need. They're looking for healthcare when and where they need it. are professionals in this province, mental health professionals, healthcare professionals. They're looking for respect. They're looking for a government that doesn't just show up at election time promising things. They're looking for a government that is going to work with them to deliver solutions, that's going to respect them, that's going to understand that to fix the issues in healthcare, crime and safety, mental health, fix the issues in education, the issues facing municipalities and communities across this province, we're going to have to sit down with those on the front line, with those communities, and build those solutions together. That is not what we've seen from this government, and I think you see the results on front after front after front.
Nicole and Caroline are both Prince Albert nominees, and you guys have been strong in Prince Albert and in Saskatoon and Regina in the past, but in order to form government, you're going to have to make inroads into new places, and so I know you've got Doug Racine signs up here
Yes.
for Saskatchewan Rivers. What are your plans for rural Saskatchewan to appeal to rural voters and get them on board?
Mm-hmm. You know, as I said, I grew up in rural Saskatchewan. My family still lives there. A brother who's in Meadow Lake raising his family, one who's in Cardiff. My folks have an outfitting business out in Lang. We knew, I knew, and I don't think it came as a surprise to any of us, that we needed to rebuild our presence out in rural Saskatchewan. That started with being in rooms, being in communities that we hadn't been in for a long time, and focusing on that common ground, focusing on the issues facing people in rural Saskatchewan. And as I said, at the end of the day, the issues facing families in Cardiff, where my brother lives, facing issues facing people in Prince Albert, in Regina, in the north, they're largely the same right across this province. People are working harder and harder and finding it more difficult at the end of the month to pay their bills. People in this province can't find health care. And in fact, in rural Saskatchewan, that's even more difficult. We've lost more than 1 in 5 nurses out of rural Saskatchewan. People can't get the care where they need it in this province right now. Education, the cuts, the underfunding to education have impacted children, families in every corner of this province. And I'll tell you, in every corner of this province, every parent wants their kids to have a good start, to have a good education. And crime, unfortunately, it looks a little different in PA than it looks in rural Saskatchewan, but seeing rising rates of crime, losing young people, mental health issues to overdose in this province, that affects everyone in our province. We're focused on those issues and delivering solutions that benefit people in all areas of this province.
I'm gonna bring the house down too.
Yeah.
I think, can I ask you it's kind of a sideline question, but it might relate to, I think one of our reporters reached out to you about events that were happening in Loon Lake. There seems to be a little bit of a crime wave, a church being burned down recently on, just prior to National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Did you want to make a comment about maybe how crime or social unrest is maybe affecting smaller communities and stuff like that?
Yeah. As I said, the issues of crime, often I think thought of as big city or city issues are being faced by communities right across this province. People don't have access to the services they need. People don't have access to the supports that used to be available in schools. The other issue is that people need hope. They need to see that there's a future for them. And in too many areas of this province, we've not seen that. We've seen a decline in the number of full-time jobs. We've seen a decline in supports. We've seen mental health and addictions issues go unchecked in areas right across this province. Again, this is an issue right across the province. It's one that has grown under Scott Moe and the Sask Party. In many cases, it's been a problem that has been exacerbated by their choices. And it is, you know, I think the people of this province are right to judge this government harshly when they show up on the eve of an election making promises about things that they have actively watched get worse and done nothing about over the last 6 years.
So what would be a practical way? So say Loon Lake has an issue with crime or violence or lack of hope. How would the NDP actually get a mental health worker into Loon Lake?
As I said, in communities, one of the things you have to provide the funding. We've got a plan to increase funding within the healthcare system by $1 billion. The number one issue, though, in healthcare is our lack of ability to retain healthcare workers in this province. Part of our Grow Your Own strategy when it comes to healthcare is to identify people already living in those communities and ensure that they have access to the training that they need in order to have the skills to deliver supports like mental health and addictions treatment within their communities.
Alrighty, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You saw her was good.
It was a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.